There's been a fair amount of activity in your neck of the woods, I think it's fair to say, with Gary Cohn saying he's going to step away. I want to start there. The president's been very explicit that he wants different voices, even conflicting voices, really informing him about economic policy. As the president looks to replace Gary Cohn, should he be looking for someone with Gary's particular point of view, which sometimes, let's be frank, might not have agreed perfectly with your own?
The president tweeted out this morning that he's got a very long list of people he's going to interview. I think it's going to be a great list. I think the thing, first of all, look, we're going to miss Gary. Gary's a great colleague. Myself, I loved having discussions with him because we do have differing points of view, and the president loves that. But it's a deep bench here. I mean, with inside the perimeter, Kevin Hassett at the Council of Economic Advisors, just a superb economist. Mick Mulvaney at OMB. I mean, this guy is leading a deregulation revolution in this country that we haven't seen since the days of Reagan. You go outside the perimeter, you got Steve Mnuchin at Treasury, who did a heck of a job on the tax bill. Wilbur Ross is just doing all sorts of great things. So there's a deep bench here with a lot of differing points of view that come into the room. The president loves that. But here's the point. At the end of the day, I liken what goes on here, the football team like the New England Patriots, right? Like every year the Patriots win the division, but they do it with different players. What doesn't change is the coach and the quarterback, and that's what we have in Donald Trump. And he had the best first year on the economy of any modern president, and we're going to have a great second year. And if you look at all the leading economic indicators right now, everything's bullish, and I think if investors look at this market, I think they'd be bullish on this market.
I want to come exactly right back to that, Peter, but just before I do that, I want to follow up on one thing. You're too modest to say you're up for that job, but I'm going to ask you, if the president came to you and said, Peter Navarro, I need you to go into that job, what would your response be?
Well, of course, I'd be honored, but I'm not on that list. Let me be clear. And the president's going to have a very long list of people he's going to interview. I'm here to serve the president, no more, no less. I'm here to defend the working men and women of this country. And I've got a very full plate at the Office of Trade and Manufacturing Policy. In addition to doing a lot of stuff on trade, I do a tremendous amount on the defense industrial base. And I take those duties very, very seriously. I want to put men and women to work every day with their hands in manufacturing. That's what I'm focused on.
Okay, so let's go back to your day job, as it were, and let's talk about the president's pro-growth agenda.
It's more than that.
Day and night.
Too, yeah.
Fair enough. I'm sure that's right. So,
yeah.
So let's talk about the president's pro-growth agenda. You talked about that long before he became president, frankly, that that's really where you thought we needed to go. But
you know, when the market was down, the futures were down the day after election, I got on a competing financial network, should we say, and I laid out what I'll lay out for you today. Basically, we got a 4-point program where we promised at the time tax cuts. We got those. We promised deregulation. We're getting that in spades. We're getting energy unleashed in this country. We're turning into the largest energy producer in the world. Check that box. And the president has been just amazing in the trade space. I mean, who would have thought when he got elected that we already would be renegotiating a better NAFTA for the American people? So if we hit all 4 points of this compass, we will have a tremendous spurt in growth, but we'll also have higher wages on higher productivity gains. So, look, people who watch your show, they're investors. What are they going to do today? Are they going to go long or short? This market, I mean, look, this is bullish. Every sign is pointing up. This is a great president and a great economy.
Yeah, no question the market has been up and investors have been very enthusiastic on the promise of growth, and particularly the tax cuts have really helped with that. But let me ask you very directly, are tariffs, like the tariffs on steel and aluminum, are those pro-growth for the economy overall?
Yes, sir, they are. And if you look simply at the experience last month of the solar tariffs and the washer tariffs, they were larger than the ones we're contemplating on aluminum and steel, 30% for solar, up to 50% for washers. What happened? This is the genius of Donald Trump. We had a flood of new investment in those industries, and the first time in 10 years, it looks like we're going to have a solar industry back. That's good for America. That's making America great again, and it's a good thing, sir.
So I want to remind everybody we're talking to both Bloomberg Television and radio. We're talking to Peter Navarro from the White House. So Peter, I guess my real question is, it's clearly good for the industries involved. It gets the prices up as a practical matter, even though it may mean people may pay more for the goods. But is it good for the economy? I mean, you're a PhD economist. You study these things. Does it lead to the economy overall growing?
Sure, it does, because what we get when we defend an industry from unfair competition is what we get is more employment in that industry. We get higher wages. We get more tax base. And that's good. But let me be clear about the aluminum steel case, because it's a very special case. All we're trying to do with the steel and aluminum tariffs, which are very modest in terms of their levels, is to defend those industries. The president said very clearly that we can't have a country without a steel and aluminum industries, and I totally agree with him. And the aluminum industry in particular will go away in just a matter of a few years unless we take the actions that we're going to be taking. We lost 6 smelters since 2013. We only have 5 left. Only 2 of them are operating at full capacity, and only 1 of them makes the high purity aluminum we need for defense applications, and we import over 90% of our needs. This is an industry that needs our help. The president is there to help this industry for national security, for the men and women who work in the industry, and it's going to be a great thing for America.
Peter, there's a lot of back and forth right now in Washington about exactly what these orders will say, whether it'll be surgical, whether some things will be eliminated or not. When will we know the answer to that question? When will the actual language come out so we know what these orders will say?
You know, that's to be determined, but we're tracking very well for this week, and that's what the president has promised, and it's going to be a great day for America.
Okay, finally, Peter, trade wars. We hear an awful lot of talk right now in the media, let's be honest, about the possibility of trade wars. How concerned are you about, A, whether there will be trade wars, and if there are, what it really would do to that pro-growth agenda?
I can hear you guys.
So, look, the president has said this repeatedly, and let me echo what he said. We are the freest trader in the world, hands down. Low tariffs, low non-tariff barriers, and all we get for that is a $500 billion a year trade deficit that offshores our wealth, offshores our jobs. My own view is that all the countries now who trade with us are getting the better part of the deal, and therefore they have no incentive at all to get into any conflict with us. And I would hope that everyone, our allies in particular, would understand that if they want America to come to their defense, we won't be able to do that without an aluminum and steel industry.